Welcome back to Good Day on this Valentine's Day. So on this day of love, we often think about our loved ones, and one of the things that we love in our lives is oftentimes our pets. And so here to talk with us today is Dr. Fred Freeland to get us more educated on spaying and neutering, because there's apparently a lot of confusion going on about what this all means and what goes with it. So they're actually having Ask the Vet February 16th at 4 at PetSense. And now this is Albany Pet Partners, where Dr. Freeland is a veterinarian. And will you tell us how the day will go?
Well, this is the first time, so we're going to try to get the public to respond to this educational session. Actually, Gary Watson, the manager at PetSense, is a client with us, and he called me because he's very much dedicated to informing pet owners, and especially about spay-neuter. So he has announcements out. We have our announcement on our marquee. I'm thrilled that Fox agreed to do this morning. And we're just going to invite people at that 4 o'clock hour. There will be a short presentation on spay-neuter, some of the pros, some of the cons of spay-neuter, and then there'll be a question and answer session, and we'll answer as many questions as we can, just trying to clarify some of the confusion about spay-neuter. And
so you mentioned the confusion that goes along with it, and why do you think there are so many different misconceptions about this topic?
Well, because it's become a commodity in veterinary medicine that spay-neuter is almost like oil change in the automotive industry. People think it's one thing and that's all it is. But we get calls all the time because people say, well, my veterinarian wants to charge me $400 to spay this dog, and they don't understand why that's $400 and why someone else charges $200. So it's confusing, and age at which to spay, there are some potential detrimental effects of spay-neuter that people don't understand that might influence the age at which they spay-neuter. And it's difficult to discuss that in a brief office visit. And if you produce a big handout like you get at the hospital and they make you sign 14 pages of consents, and most of us don't read those and really understand them. So we're trying this as a way to educate pet owners.
So people don't have to RSVP, they just need to come.
Right. And if we run out of space, which would be wonderful, we'll decide what to do. But we're thrilled to try it. Thank Gary very much for hosting it, because my office is way too small. and I hope it succeeds, because we like to do other programs on other topics.
Sure, and so we're going to be talking a little bit more about that when we return, so you guys make sure to stay with us, and we'll kind of dive into the topic of spaying and neutering. Again, Dr. Fred Freeland from Albany Pet Partners. We are back with more Good Day, talking with Dr. Fred Freeland from Albany Pet Partners, teaming up with PetSense, and they're holding a question and answer forum, Ask a Vet, on February 16th at 4, and you guys are going to be talking about spaying and neutering your pets.
Exactly. There's a lot of confusion about spay-neuter, what it entails, the pros and cons of spay-neuter, and so Gary approached me and I said, this would be great. Let's open it up to the public and get as much information out there as we can on this subject, and then maybe do others as well.
And just sitting with you and talking with you this morning, I've already learned so much about the world of spaying and neutering. Didn't even know that some things were going on in this area, but just touching the surface of everything, what's the difference between spaying and neutering?
Well, spaying, in usual terms, you remove the complete uterus and ovaries. Now in Europe, a lot of times they just remove the ovaries. And neutering, which should apply to both males and females, but it historically has been used to describe the male surgery, you remove the entire testicles. Again, people ask me, can you do vasectomies on dogs and that sort of thing?
Oh, wow.
Probably can, but none of us are actually trained to do that. So it's essentially neutralizing the reproduction capability, and that's where the term neuter applies to both male and female.
That makes sense, neutralizing. Okay, thank you. That really makes a lot of sense. So now there's, I mean, that was just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much going on in this world with spaying and neutering. There are lots of pros, lots of cons. And so what would you like everybody really to know this morning in our show?
Well, I think everyone should spay neuter dogs and cats. Cats especially, we have a horrible problem with excess cats. Because it's the only permanent way to control reproduction. But when to spay neuter, the age is an important factor. Some people that might want to postpone spay neuter till 6 to 7 months of age have to realize that that may be acceptable, especially for certain breeds. It's going to cost them more to spay that 60-pound dog than it will to spay the 20-pound dog as a youngster. But there are some good reasons perhaps to postpone spay. Certainly the old idea that they should have a litter first is totally incorrect, and no one who doesn't want puppies or kittens should ever have a litter because that old wives' tale is still out there.
Of course. So now, what do you think would be the #1 thing that would be surprising as far as the benefits of spaying and neutering?
I don't think anything surprising about the benefits because most people understand you don't have that bleeding of the female monthly, which cats don't do, by the way. So if a cat's bleeding, there's something wrong.
I'm glad you told us that. I wish that we had more time to talk with you this morning, but if you guys want to know more, I mean, this is just a huge topic. Go by PetSense February 16th at 4. Where are they located?
They're across from the new Walmart in East Albany.
All right, there you go. So you guys make sure you stop by and talk with Dr. Fred Freeland, and we look forward to hearing about how it goes and about more that are coming in the future. It's time to go on over to Chris.